Imagine one day you wake up and realize everyone you know has been replaced by an exact duplicate. An evil twin, a robot, or maybe even an alien. Sounds crazy, right? So I was recently reading this book called Phantoms in the Brain, where the author, a very well-known neuroscientist and psychologist, discusses his work with patients developing what is known as the Capgras syndrome, among many other disorders. One of his patients, a young man named Arthur, had gotten into a car accident at the age of 30, which led him to develop this Capgras syndrome, probably one of the rarest, most colorful syndromes in neurology. Arthur had been convinced that his parents were imposters who looked exactly like his real parents. Nothing or no one could convince him otherwise. No, doctor, this guy is not my father. He just looks like him. But Arthur, why is this man pretending to be your father? I don't know, doctor. Maybe my real father paid him to take care of me and to pay my bills. You see, Arthur hadn't forgotten that he had a father, or even what his parents looked like. He had just lost that emotional bond, that connection he had with them when they stood in front of him. This is what is known as the Capgras syndrome, and it is definitely real. So this occurs due to the neuroanatomical damage happening at a physical level. Normally, when you first see someone you know, the process of facial recognition takes place in your brain. There are two pathways to facial recognition, one conscious and one unconscious. The unconscious process happens in the fusiform gyrus in your temporal lobe. This helps you recognize that the features of the person standing in front of you exactly match those of your loved ones. The message is then relayed to the emotional getaway of your brain, the amygdala. This helps you recognize that you have an emotional history with that person of that similar set of features. So when the nerve pathway between the visual center and the emotional center of the brain have been damaged, you could, for example, consciously recognize that a person may look like your mother but feel no connection towards her. Now imagine the frustration and annoyance in Arthur's life. His parents no longer felt like his parents, but rather strangers who were trying to navigate their way around the syndrome and back into his life, trying to convince him that they weren't strangers at all, but rather his very own parents. So the story of Arthur provoked a thought into my mind. The reason Arthur was unable to recognize these people as his own was merely due to that absence of an emotional connection he had with them. What is an emotional connection? An emotional connection is basically a bundle of subjective feelings that come together to create a bond between two people, between you and your mother, between you and your father, you and your siblings, and so on. So this really gets you thinking how important that attachment, that connection is with people who have a significant role in your life. This special bond gives you a feeling of belongingness. It makes you feel accepted. It gives you a sense of familiarity. This bond begins to develop the moment we are born, the moment we are introduced to this world. We start to recognize the people around us, the people that love us. We start to recognize our parents, our mother and father, by the way they look, by their scent, and even by the warmth we feel when we are around them. The human brain is truly complex and magnificent, and its complexity is beyond anyone's imagination. Perhaps what we fail to realize and often underestimate is its ability to create and comprehend these emotional links it makes with people that we've known our entire life or people we've just met. And perhaps the most difficult, most complex, yet fascinating task the brain can do is trying to understand itself, trying to understand how we feel about ourselves, and trying to understand how we feel about people around us. Thank you.